Welcome, fellow seekers of draconic knowledge. Today, we embark on a comprehensive exploration of the Draco Holy Wars, a saga spanning eons, divine conflict, and the creation of enduring traditions among Dragonkind. We'll chart the rise of Asgarath, the chaos of the Dragonfall War, and the enigmatic resolution called Xorvintaal. Let's begin at the very origin, Asgarath himself. Asgarath, also known across the planes as Io, the World Shaper or the Ninefold Dragon, is the primordial creator of Dragonkind. Revered as the Concordant Dragon, he's described as embodying every alignment, uniting good, evil, law and chaos within himself, and surpassing the petty rivalries that racked divinity. Unlike most gods, Asgarath never appeared directly before his followers, but made his presence felt as an incorporeal, awe-inspiring presence within their minds. Only once, according to the oldest dragon legends, did Asgarath take physical form, to create the multiverse itself, a being so vast that its scales dwarfed all mortal dragons. Asgarath's portfolio centers around creation, balance, and Dragonkind's destiny. His holy symbol often being an unadorned circle representing totality. His home plane is a mythic uncertainty. Some sources say the Outlands, others simply the Outer Planes, hinting at a cosmic being without true equal or boundary. Perhaps uniquely among deities, Asgarath transcends traditional alignment. Sages argue whether he is truly neutral or beyond such definitions, containing both the loftiest virtues of Bahamut and the deepest vices of Tiamat. Individual avatars can manifest with any specific alignment found among Dragonkind. Rituals honoring Asgarath often symbolize unity, mixing blood and wine among participants to reflect his own act of blending creation. There is no central dogma or hierarchy for Asgarath's clergy. Each dragon interprets him through its own nature. Red dragons may venerate him as a paragon of chaos and might, gold dragons as a beacon of order and good. His worshippers come from every draconic lineage: true dragons, draconic creatures, and even kobolds, lizard folk, and rare human cultists. Despite his overwhelming importance, Asgarath commanded few formal clerics. Most honored him with personal devotions, reflecting his immense, all-encompassing presence. Draconic mythology teaches that before creation, only Asgarath existed within the first void. All the worlds, stars, and even time emerged when he shed his own blood, establishing potential for all reality. This act, subtle and cosmic, explains why non-dragons rarely feature Asgarath in their creation myths. His hand shaped the stage for all the other gods. A popular myth among half-dragons, called the Blending, depicts Asgarath spinning within the boundary of existence and nothingness, growing until he melded the two. From him spun metallic and chromatic rings, which later became Bahamut and Tiamat, before giving way to dragons and finally all other creatures. Yet a piece of nothingness always lingers within him, a reminder of the eventual return to the void. Another myth, recounted in the mysterious Book of the World, describes Asgarath shattering the crystal sun, being pierced by its fragments, and from her blood creating red dragons. A renegade among them, often interpreted as Bahamut, wields a shard to draw forth metallic life from Asgarath's own wound. Such tales underline the origins of chromatic and metallic dragons and their rivalry. Some sages theorize Asgarath is an aspect of the world serpent, or even a primordial being who ascended after events like Tearfall. Asgarath's role in the cosmic order makes even deities such as Ao possible mirrors or peers. He's also responsible for raising lesser draconic gods, such as Kurtulmak and Korolyek, granting divine power to protect their races. One of the most legendary acts attributed to Asgarath is the Tearfall. When, freed from imprisonment in the epoch known as the Days of Thunder, he hurled an ice moon at Toral's surface. This cataclysm destroyed the Batraki civilization and triggered the birth of countless dragons, solidifying Asgarath's reputation as Dragonkind's ultimate creator. Asgarath's detachment also shaped the draconic pantheon itself. He is rarely counted as having true enemies among the gods. His neutrality allows even the most opposed dragon sects to find common cause, though this is ironically a source of conflict. Each species claims to reflect Asgarath's true form and essence, sowing the seeds of future discord. This leads us to the Draco Holy Wars, a series of terrible civil wars that erupted among Dragonkind in the primordial dawn. These wars were not waged for territory or wealth, but over fiercely held beliefs about Asgarath's nature and the correct path for Dragonkind, a conflict of philosophy, identity, and divinity itself. Silver Dragons begrudgingly accepted Gold Dragon's claim that Asgarath was a lawful good gold worm, while both vehemently rejected Red Dragon's assertion that he mirrored their chaotic evil essence. These religious disputes threatened to drive the entire dragon race to the brink of extinction, and at times nearly did. The Holy Wars did not spare even the most tightly knit subgroups. Within species such as the Gold Dragons, splits occurred as younger generations began following Bahamut rather than their traditional gods, Lendis and Tamara. Even here, while violence was rare, it fostered widespread intolerance and sectarian strife, previously unknown among Golds. However, the greatest clash of the Draco Holy Wars is known as the Dragonfall War, a sprawling conflict between Bahamut's followers and those of Tiamat. It began around -30,000 DR, when Bahamut's champions slew Tiamat's Wern general, Nagamat. In retaliation, Tiamat unleashed her spawn, aberrant dragon-like monsters bred from her own corrupted eggs. To answer this threat, Bahamut created his own soldiers, the first Dragonborn of Bahamut. These Dragonborn were not ordinary mortals, but rather beings infused with divine power, forged to counter the twisted creations of Tiamat on the front lines of the Dragonfall War. The war waxed and waned across the ages with no clear victor. Its echoes shaped ancient civilizations such as Unther, where Bahamut, under the guise of Marduk, and Tiamat each amassed mortal and divine followers, culminating in apocalyptic confrontations like the Battle of the Gods, where both deities perished, only to later return. Throughout these violent centuries, faith in the draconic pantheon faltered. Dragons, wearied by endless conflict and divine neglect, turned away from the gods. It's believed many lesser dragons' gods faded from existence, starved of worship and devotion, leaving only Bahamut, Tiamat, and a handful of survivors remembered and revered. The devastation was profound. Many dragons recognized that endless battle only threatened their species' survival. Some wise worms, possibly guided by Zorquan, god of Dragonkind, advocated for a new paradigm, ending open warfare and establishing dominance through other, less destructive means. This vision led to the creation of Xorvintaal, the Great Game. From open battlefields, dragons shifted to contests of cunning and status, using intricate schemes, influential minions, and mortal agents as pieces in a strategic game whose rules only dragons could truly understand. Prestige replaced bloodshed as the preferred method of determining superiority. Xorvintaal is legendary for its complexity. Dragons participating, known as Taldaraxi, take the ritual of Xorvintaal, sacrificing their Oed spellcasting in exchange for new powers to manipulate the board. The rules are arcane, layered, and almost impossible for mortal minds to fully grasp. Hundreds of precepts favoring strategy, patience, and deception. Key strategies in Xorvintaal include castling a hoard, engineering a seed hoard in rival domains, orchestrating the infamous claw test among loyal agents, or deploying elaborate seed shams to mislead rivals. Direct confrontation is forbidden by the rules. Conflict is waged through Lovak, lieutenants, and dokal are the servants, bound by ritual oaths. Only the most extraordinary of dragons dedicate their lives to mastering Xorvintaal, recognizing that the risk of addiction is great. The cost, forsaking magical might for status, means only the most ambitious or cunning play, and the consequences ripple across kingdoms, centuries, and bloodlines. Dragons who excel gain prestige, influence, and even the right to be acknowledged among their kind as leaders. Notably in the modern era, strongholds and cities like Xorvintaal are named for the game, showcasing Xorvintaal's hold on dragon culture. Through its cycles, the game has decided the fate of entire regions, sometimes unbeknownst to mortal players on the board. The human perspective on Xorvintaal is hilariously inaccurate. Even sages mistake the game for mere politics, missing the deeper magic and draconic psychology that drive players' strategies and sacrifices. The rules, adaptations, and consequences remain forever shrouded from non-dragons, ensuring the game's mystique endures. Despite a long era of draconic apathy, prophecy foretold a turning of the great cycle in which true religious fervor would eventually return after enough blood and tradition was lost. Following the destructive rage of dragons in 1373 DR, worship of Bahamut, Tiamat, and the draconic pantheon surged anew, reshaping the power balance of Dragonkind. This revitalized Holy Spirit was a double-edged sword. While the surviving gods gained new power, it also threatened to reignite the ancient schisms, with the embers of the Dragonfall War ever ready to flare anew. The consequences of the Draco Holy Wars were profound. The old pantheons faded. New societies formed. Dragons learned caution born of extinction, and methods of dominance shifted from cataclysm to cunning. The story of the wars, the Dragonfall, and the rise of Xorvintaal still shapes the politics, faith, and ambitions of dragons, and those who encounter them. The Dungeon Masters, the echoes of these divine and cultural battles are a treasure trove. Whether in the form of a secret Xorvintaal gambit influencing an entire region, or the return of ancient draconic devotion after centuries of apathy. Every dragon encountered might be playing for more than gold. They could be maneuvering within a game incomprehensible to mortals. Adventurers, when you encounter dragons, remember, what seems to be greed, wrath, or whim may mask the subtle currents of ancient war or an invisible strategic game. The Draco Holy Wars never truly ended. They transformed and continue to shape the destiny of Dragonkind to this very day. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the Draco Holy Wars, Asgarath's myths, the destruction of the Dragonfall War, the Draconic Schism, and the labyrinthine legacy of Xorvintaal. May your campaigns be filled with draconic intrigue and countless hoards of ancient secrets.